Napoli fans around the world, welcome to this episode of Napoli Talk, guys. Sorry for the delay in this, but I was watching the game at home with my family, and I stuck around to comment the game with them before I get to you guys. So yeah, sorry for the little bit of the delay, guys. There's lots and lots and lots to discuss, to talk about. So let's get your comments straight away, guys. Let me know if the audio is doing fine, if the video is doing fine, guys. I have a little bit of a green screen now. I'm back in Naples, and I wanted to experiment with some stuff. Maybe this looks nice. Maybe it doesn't look so nice. Just let me know how that is. All right, let's go. Where do we start, guys? From winning the title by 20 points to this, lol, says Careless Yogurt. Guys, by the way, today, I don't even care about you guys smashing the like button or subscribing. Honestly, I'm not even gonna ask you guys to do it. I'm mad. I'm very, very, very mad, and nothing will cheer me up. So I'm not even gonna ask for that. Let's go to some other comments. John says Adiele needs to stop thinking this Scudetto ego. At the end of the day, we are not Juve, we are not Inter, we are not Milan. We can't be like them, but not under this president. ADL out. We paid 30 million for Lindstrom, and he barely even plays at all. Guys, Lindstrom is another one of those. Uh, Garcia said this over the summer that we had some um, injuries due to the mercato. He called them mercato injuries, which is players that don't play because maybe it's better to just sell them, right? And not risk them. So over the summer, he was talking about this with some players, like for example, I can't remember who it was, but for example, Napoli in today's game didn't have Elmas in the squad list because obviously he's gone and is doing his medicals or has already maybe completed them with Leipzig, but in their training report, they had that Elmas was injured and was doing some therapies, which actually meant that he was doing a medical somewhere else. So, guys, there's a lot of these kind of injuries happening right now, and I wonder if Zielinski's injury last week was due to that as well. The one that he had against Frosinone is what I mean, that he couldn't play. Is that because maybe there's something going on between him and Inter? Obviously, he played today, but I mean, with what kind of enthusiasm did Zielinski play today? Then you've got Lindstrom. Lindstrom, is he another one of these Mercato injuries where actually we're thinking, you know what, maybe we go and um, release him, right? Even after it's just 6 months. Zanoli, could he be another one of these? He didn't start. Simeone as well. Like all these players that are not playing, are they out of the project? Are we doing? Are we planning a complete makeover of this team? I don't know. I don't know. But there's a lot to talk about, and there's problems with every player, and we'll go play, guys. Today we will go player by player and we will discuss them because I am done with giving some of these players excuses. I mean, there are some players like, guys, Anguissa doesn't even look like the dumb cousin of Anguissa. He looks like the dumb cousin of the dumb cousin of Anguissa on the field. Kvara, what's going on with Kvara? Last year, top 30 player in the world. This year, hardly top 30 in the Serie A. It would be a stretch to put him in the top 30 of the Serie A. These are things that we need to talk about. Osimhen, you just signed 10 million a year probably. We were saying how maybe some of his performances were not so good because he was having these contract negotiations on his mind and he was frustrated that he wasn't getting the money that he's worth. And on the first day that he signs his contract renewal, that he gets the big paycheck, he goes and does this. Is that something that is normal? Is that normal? It's not. What about Politano? Has a reaction foul in front of the referee, in front of the linesman, when we have possession of the ball, when the referee is gonna give that guy a yellow card, he goes and he has that stupid reaction. The game is 0-0. You're playing away from home at Roma in a game that is already filled with yellow cards. You've got the Roma crowd all over you, the Roma bench all over you, and what do? You literally show how stupid some of these football players are. Guys, stay in school. Stay in school, man, because these are people that are earning millions, and they don't know how to keep their cool. They don't know how to reason. Payman, that guy, I always want to shout him out because he's a big supporter of the channel. And He says, Dom, we need a coach. How can players perform? It's individuals on the pitch with no plans. That's true, but at the same time, okay, so let's talk about Mazzarri. We've probably been worse under Mazzarri than we were under Garcia. At least under Garcia, we were the team that was shooting the most, creating the most chances. Guys, at this moment in time, we are not even able to create a single chance. Our shots per game has gone down massively. We have been conceding more goals under Mazzarri than under Garcia. And I thought that was not going to be possible. But it's too easy to say that this is Mazzarri's fault. It's too easy. It's too easy, guys. Because, first of all, what Garcia did before Mazzarri came over is damage that ripples through for a long time. For a long time. The effects of Garcia will be there for a long time, guys. A very long time. Because if you get rid of Napoli's athletic guy that prepares the team, who's been with them for 8 years, and you hire someone that is useless, this whole team it's as if they didn't do a summer retreat. Their bodies are literally not capable to withstand the Serie A. And there's very little a coach can do when the players are physically not in the right shape, because you can't you can't even criticize them for not being you can't criticize Mazzari for not being able to show this team how to press, because these players are literally not able to press because they're physically just not there. They wouldn't be able to handle 90 minutes of pressing. So obviously then the whole team suffers from this athletic preparation that we had over the summer, thanks to Garcia. I mean, guys, Lobotka dead, destroyed. Zielinski, Anguissa, the whole midfield is completely dead. Completely dead. Don People says, I think Politano meant it as a friendly gesture, little pat on the culo. Guys, you can't do this. You can't, because we represent Napoli, and referees are going to, any little chance they have, every little chance they have, they are gonna use it as an excuse against us. You literally have to be on your best behavior if you're a Napoli player. And Politano should know this. He's been with us, it's not his first season, he's been with us for 4 or 5 seasons. We're the only team that is not able to get away with more than 2 fouls per player without getting a yellow card. I've seen some players, I've seen Chalanoglu, I've seen Cristante, I've seen all these guys, Barella, I've seen all these guys be able to walk away in a game with 5 fouls against them and never get sent off. That's not the case with Napoli, and we need to know that. It's literally not the first time. So, Dom, is it not possible to rehire the same athletic guy? He may be happy to come back. I don't even know. And guys, by the way, guys, by the way, the guy that we hired, the guy that was working for Garcia, when he left, he took all the data that he had on the players. So basically, the guy that had been with us for 8 years, he left, but at least he left this guy with the data of the Napoli players, what they eat, what has been their historical weights, what has been like everything, like what is their personal best on a 100-meter sprint, like whatever the case may be on what this data is. This guy left it to Garcia's man. When Garcia left, this guy took everything with him, like wiped every like literally the new guy had to start from scratch. That has an impact. Like when you're talking about professional athletes of this level, these types of details make a difference. That's why they invest so much money in the first place in nutritionists, in athletic preparation, and all that. And then, if it didn't make a difference, then they wouldn't be doing those kind of investments. We failed under that aspect, and it clearly makes a difference, especially when you play against a team like Roma. I don't know if we are able to hire this guy again, but I don't know. Dom, how do you know all these information about these staff? It's known facts here in Naples. I read a lot on the local newspapers. I have family here. So, for example, my doctor is the same doctor that you see enter the football field every time a player is injured. He treated my knee condition. So, there is some level of contact there with those kind of things. Let's get to some more comments. ADL thinks we're going to be able to find a centrale, a winger, and two centrocampisti. He has lost the plot. Guys, we need 6 players. Never mind 4. We need 6 players. Because as I said, you need to replace Elmas. You need to replace Zielinski. You need to replace Gaetano because he doesn't count as someone who's part of this team because we can't rely on Gaetano. You need to replace Anguissa, who's going to AFCON, and he looks like the dumb cousin of the dumb cousin of the dumb cousin of Anguissa last year. You need to replace probably Zanoli because Zanoli wants playing time, and Di Lorenzo this year has been dreadful. Maybe one of our worst players, Di Lorenzo, this year. Kvara, you can't replace him because you can't find someone that you can replace him with. But we don't have a backup there because Raspadori on the left, we've tried it. It doesn't work. So guys, we need 6, 7 players. Like this team is weak, and the problem that Napoli had that we did this summer is that we didn't learn our lesson from the previous year. The previous year, guys, we put in so much new, fresh faces into this team. Kim, Simeone, Raspadori, Kvara, and Dombele, all these guys that gave Napoli something extra, right? And we got rid of players that were no longer motivated, such as Fabian and all these guys. This year, we didn't learn from the positive lesson of last year. We didn't get rid of all the players that are maybe unmotivated, such as like we should have got rid of Elmas earlier. He was always going to be unmotivated this year if he wasn't going to be starting because you can accept to be on the bench if you know that you're going to be winning the title. But I mean, you do that once, but not twice or 3 times, not at the age of 24. And we didn't put enough fresh blood into this team. People with more motivation because guys, some of these players, I'm sorry to say, but ever since it was clear that we were winning the Scudetto, which is around March time, they completely lost their heads. Some of the stories, guys, some of the stories that you're hearing, that I'm hearing, being here in Naples just for the last 2, 3 days about what some of these players are getting up to in their spare time. Guys, I don't want to say it because then I'll get sued for defamation because I don't have the proof for it. But if some of these stories are true, it's clear that They are not leading professional lives, and it's clear that their head is somewhere else. It's very clear. It's very clear. Same thing with like guys. I mean, these players don't just become bad or stupid out of nowhere. I mean, there's clearly something happening behind the scene, a bit like how it was with Manolas. If you guys get what I mean by that, okay? Raspa on the 87th minute was a joke. Simeone never playing is an even bigger joke. Yeah, Simeone never playing, but the times that he's played, he's not really shown that he's not really shown that he can bring something this year. He's not, again, maybe he's not motivated or whatever the case may be, but yeah. Thanks to Dom making it worth following the dumpster fire after all. No, thank you. Thanks to you guys because we are all contributing. If it was just me speaking, it wouldn't be useful at all. It's this community that we have, where you're all contributing and you're all saying your thing. Let's see some more, guys. Sorry, I'm super far behind on the comments, but I want to get everybody's comments in, at least one per person. So fed up with this season, says Jonas. We'll watch bloody Wrexham today. At least there's someone trying. Bored with this. See you all this summer. Merry bloody Christmas, Aurelio. All right, man. I mean, see you in 6 months. I mean, guys, I'm not even gonna try to keep you. I'm not even gonna try to keep you on because I know how tough it is. Like, think about your mental health. Think about your mental health. Don't worry about me. I'll miss you. We'll miss you, but think about yourself. We actually played okay till Politano's red. I mean, look, we didn't create many chances though. That's the problem. Like we struggled to create chances. And Roma maybe had the better chances leading up to Politano's red. And if you think about the gap in points between us and Roma last year, it's kind of worrying that regard. Yeah, and they didn't have a shot until the second half. Exactly. We only started with Zielinski and Kvara's kind of half attempts in the second half, but we didn't. Guys, we're not able to feed Osimhen. Roma's goal, however lucky that goal was, the ball was crossed into Lukaku in the box. Then there was a little bit of bouncing around with the ball, but at least the ball in the first place got to Lukaku in the box. How many balls got to Osimhen in the box today? How many? Zero. To even get a sniff of the ball, Osimhen either had to come all the way back in the midfield or had to go down the right hand side. And when he was on the right hand side, there was no one in the middle that was getting the crosses. Let's talk about the refereeing. The refereeing is scandalous. I mean, we've had four really bad in a row. We've had Inter, Juve, Frosinone, this one, like all really bad refereeing against us. At the same time, last year we were in a condition where it didn't even matter because we would be controlling the game, we would have the ball, we would have possession, we would be scoring goals, and so there's not even anything that could potentially go against us when that happened. We were in control of our own destiny. Unfortunately, that's what it takes to play for Napoli. You got to be in control of your own destiny. Certain teams get preferential treatment. Certain teams get the shaft. I think I know why. Yeah, I mean, clearly, guys, there's it's a business. There's connections. Inter is obviously always going to get preferential treatment because they're full. They're full of debt. Inter's so full of debt that you don't even know who the owner is anymore of that team, and the Serie A has to protect them. They have to protect Inter. They've already, let's say, sacrificed Juventus because Juventus did things that are so goddamn illegal that they couldn't not sacrifice Juventus. Like they couldn't not act against Juventus. The last thing the Serie A needs is for another top team from going down as well. So as long as Inter doesn't do anything like too shady, they'll try to protect them as much as possible so that they can, you know, at least get back on their feet, fix their whole debt situation, and then maybe we can start being a little bit more competitive on a European level. But I mean, there's like a whole business behind this, guys. We will get a documentary in a couple of years on how we ruined everything. Nobody will buy except ME country. What are we talking about here? ADL should sell Napoli and keep Bari. Can't own two teams in the same league. Law. Yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, he was he was talking about some kind of Serie Elite. I don't know if you guys saw the video, by the way, that I posted yesterday. Guys, there's a lot of you. There's a lot of you on here right now. After this video, make sure you check out the one from yesterday. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Twitter and the Instagram as well. There's like lots of comments and polls and memes and all that stuff there. We look like Milan last year. I guess it's a Scudetto curse, guys. We are like 100 times worse than Milan last year. Milan never went down this bad last year. Never went down this bad, and they had a pretty bad year. The only thing that could possibly save us is if we have an amazing Champions League run, but I don't believe we will. I said it out loud at the start of the season. He was going to ruin this team. Just whole thing looked that way, guys. The thing is that we should have just rebuilt the team. Like, there is a reason why teams like Napoli, like Roma, like like whenever you win a title, you don't repeat it again because it's such a massive it's such a massive undertaking that it just drains you physically and mentally, and then you get put on such a pedestal. I mean, guys, you should have seen Naples this summer. There was banners of these people everywhere in the street. I mean, they became almost like gods, these players. And it's normal that then you start the next season without that edge because you think you're the man, because you think that you don't need to put that 100% anymore, your 90% is enough. And maybe you have a bit of a different lifestyle. You know it's it's easy to fall into that trap when you win in a place that's not used to winning. And so maybe in these type of places, the best thing to do is to say, you know what? You guys won. Thank you very much. Here's the door. Who wants Osimhen? 200 million? Here you go. Who wants Kvara? 100 million? Here you go. Elmas, 35 million? There. And let's bring in new people. New people that need to prove themselves. Because if these guys think that winning one season and then being seventh by Christmas the next is acceptable behavior, then because I don't think it's just a matter of the coaches. I really don't think so. A lot of this is also due to just them, like just the effort that they put. I mean, some of them are walking on the field, and it could be because of obviously the athletic preparation this summer, but a lot of them are just not, they're like, they don't care. Like, they haven't prepared themselves as well. They didn't even watch the game and feeling nothing after these losses. Yeah, so that's a bit more of a recent comment. Let me just go back a little bit to some more. Bezos in Napoli. I really wish though. 9:30 in the morning here. I'm already drinking my sorrows. Happy Christmas Eve, Justin. I mean, this guy's already on the 24th of. Oh, me too now. It's 1 minute after midnight. Merry Christmas, guys. What a Christmas. What a Christmas, guys. Um, Wait, so since he bought this team up out of Serie C, we have to continue to support his nonsense? No way. Yeah, I mean, I feel like at some point you have to change, right? And it's a bit like I don't know how familiar some of you guys are with startups, right? But you have the founder, he does really well to get the project going. He or she, and the founding team stay 5 or 6 years, and then when the thing becomes like very big, you need to then start relying on people that actually know what they're doing with big companies, with when you take it to the next level, and oftentimes that's when the founders get bought by like other players, and other people and stuff like that, but like people that know how to actually like properly run a business. And it's the same thing with De Laurentiis. I mean, he did great bringing it from Serie C to the Champions, to winning a Scudetto that I don't even think he planned for. And now, maybe it's time to just, realize that, hey, maybe like this thing has become a little bit too big for me to handle. If you don't want to sell it, at least put yourself in the condition where you open yourself up to more people helping you out. I mean, it's like the same thing with me, right? In my little bubble here of Napoli talk, I'm getting to the point where maybe I do need someone to help me with the graphics. Maybe I do need someone that helps me with the editing of the content. Maybe someone that helps me with marketing. Because like it's not the start anymore. No, like I need to grow it. I need to, and you need to realize that maybe you need external help. And that's how normal people think. They're like, where can I get this extra help? Where can I like leverage on other people's knowledge and skills? But De Laurentiis, he's the more Napoli grows, the more he's trying to have more and more and more and more and more control of it himself. But he's just not got the skills and capabilities. And it's a big problem. And it's a big problem for us because as long as he's not putting his trust in people that are actually competent, then it's a problem. So yeah, a lot of talk about Jeff Bezos coming in. That would be amazing. We talked about it last week. But at the same time, you can't come out of a game like this and start blaming the owner. Was Adiele on the field? That's another great point, Nicholas. It's a great point. At the end of the day, Adiele was not on the field. Yes, mistakes were made. Mistakes are being made, but at the same time, guys, like Zielinski, right? With what I mean, Adele is not on the field, but what he does has a direct impact. Like Zielinski, he De Laurenti said in an interview 2 days ago, oh, maybe Zielinski prefers the fog of Milan over Naples. Like basically just aired out the dirty laundry, and basically fed Zielinski to the lions. With what kind of motivation is this player going to enter the field before such a game? Also, he's the one that sold Elmas to Leipzig, by the way, a potential Champions League rival, who knows? But, anyways, sold Leipzig on the 23rd of December, when we still have 2 games before the transfer window starts. We still had Roma and we still have Monza at home. This is the only time in history that a player gets sold 2 matches before the transfer window starts, and he's allowed to do his medicals in that place. What does that mean? That means that you would rather secure the bag and make sure that he doesn't get injured and make sure that you close the deal as fast as possible, rather than maybe risk him for 2 games, but at least you get something out of him. Maybe. Because Elmas today would have been useful. Elmas against Monza would be useful. Instead, he's literally gone. We are the only team that on the 23rd of December has lost a player in the transfer market. So, yes, Adiele doesn't go on the field, but I mean, the impact of Adiele and his decisions have literally affected two of our like 4 midfield players. What he said and done in the last few hours. So, okay, it's not 100% his fault, but like there's a clear thing there, right? So, yeah. If you watch a movie produced by Adiele, it says in the credits Adiele director, Adiele lights, Adiele makeup, Adiele catering, Adiele clapperboard. Yeah, yeah. Um, Yeah. Let me get to some of the more comments, guys. Today, I just want to read. I just want to read some of your comments, also because there's a lot of you. There's a lot of you connected. Thank you, guys. It's I know it's late, but I know for a fact you don't have school and you don't have work tomorrow. You are literally just gonna sit at home and eat a bunch of food. So that means that you can stay up and suffer with the rest of us tonight. All right. So don't you dare close the stream if you've made it this far. Um, let's see. Change is good for me. A fresh start is what we need. ADL is too stale and decrepit. Hopefully your exams are being graded more fairly than this match was refereed. Disgrace. No match analysis, please. We should only focus on what we have to do between now and the new year. I agree. There's literally no point in doing a match analysis. I don't have one. I don't have screenshots for you. We are just ranting about the problems that we have and what we could do moving forward, and then some player ratings. Um, the bad far outweigh the good. If you want to support him for some reason, fine, but don't tell me I'm wrong for wanting a change. And I think that's a totally respectable opinion. I think that we obviously need to respect both opinions, always, regardless. We need to do that. And I'm with people that want change. I don't want change just like getting in whoever. I hope that if we change, it's someone that has a project that starts. The first point has to be the youth academy. I don't want to hear a project that doesn't start there. It has to start with the youth academy. It then has to go on to having a stadium of the club, and that means that either you make your own or you come to an agreement with the community of Naples that owns the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, but you've had 20 years to come to some kind of agreement and you have not been able to. And then we talk about the sporting project, but like we need to sort out the things in the background. Oh, a training center. We literally do not own our training, like the hotel in our training center is not even ours. Like, guys, there's so many problems behind the scene. Like, we're missing the foundations here. We're missing the foundations. It's incredible for a guy that's been here for 20 years that says he's got like 150 million in reserves and all that. The lack of investment, as much as maybe some of you guys might think this is not important, but we need a women's team. We don't have an under 21 team. Like, all these things are important, guys. They're important. And we don't have anything. We don't have anything, guys. We just have the 23 players in our roster, and if they get injured and they start playing badly, then the value of whatever Napoli is just goes down dramatically just based off performances on the field. It's scary. It's a scary business, to think that your entire value is just based on whether someone scores or not because you don't have anything set up in the infrastructure. You can simultaneously think he's stingy owner who needs to leave and think our team has deep issues in defense, producing chances and finishing clinically. Yeah, yeah, you can think both. I obviously won't change your mind, and you won't change mine. To each his own, I guess. I mean, there's various problems. Adiele is one of them. He's not the only. It's one, not the only, is my opinion. Um, Elmas escaped while he could. Guys, Elmas already wanted to leave last season. Remember when he posted that story on Instagram saying that he was pictured next to Napoli's bench and he was saying, and he captioned it with me and my best friend, in bracket, the bench. Guys, Elmas wanted to leave last year, and from what I know, people have told me that De Laurentiis and Spalletti both went to Elmas's house and sat him down and convinced him to stay for the Scudetto and promised him a starting 11 spot the next year, as they were certain that Zielinski was going to leave. It was a promise made to Elmas, and that promise wasn't kept. and so Elmas free to go. That's also why De Laurentiis is letting him go also 2 matches in advance. It's because he knows that the promise wasn't withheld. So there's a little bit of give and take that occurred there. So, but I mean, Elmas, he wanted to leave from last year, and because he wanted playing time, even though we were 20 points ahead or 10 points ahead by Christmas. I'm talking about like around Christmas time. Even though it was like he wanted to play so badly, he was willing almost to sacrifice being a Scudetto winner, you know? And then Spalletti and De Laurentiis kind of talked a little bit of sense into him. Damn, I think Garcia's better than his new coach. Who knows, man? Who knows? But I think we had to change. We had to change regardless because we would have never known until we changed, right? And we would have always been like, oh, why didn't ADL change? Blah 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 blah. Worst Napoli game I've ever seen. Painful display from start to finish. Obviously, maybe you're forgetting the one against Frosinone. No tactics, no game plan, no individual effort, no motivation, 2 red cards. Shame we got outplayed by an anti football team. That's, I think, the most ironic thing, right? Like, the most anti football team in Italy with guys that just play rugby, essentially, with all due respect to rugby, but I mean, the type of tackles they were doing was crazy. Not rugby, but like MMA. With all due respect to them, like we ended up with 2 red cards. It's crazy. It's crazy. What was up with Zambo trying all these cute touches? He was terrible today. Yeah, I think he tried four, four back heel things in the midfield. Lost so much possession, guys. As I said, Zambo, ever since March, he looks like the dumb cousin of the dumb cousin of the dumb cousin of last year's Zambo Anguissa. Like, it's so far removed from the level that he normally plays, but not just him. Lobotka, his fitness level, it seems like Lobotka's back to the fitness level that he had under Gattuso. Like, it's it's incredible. It's really incredible how much of a step back some of these players have done. The panettone will taste bitter this Christmas. I mean, I've got some good ones. I've got some good ones right in front of me actually, and I'll enjoy them because I'm not letting this Napoli team ruin my Christmas Eve, man. I've got one year this season that one day this season um, that I can enjoy with and I will make the most of it. Then the rest of the 365 days will be suffering, but I'm not gonna let them ruin Christmas, man. Mazzari is just paying the consequences. Adiel has a lot of responsibility for this unhealthy environment. I think that's really the key, right? It's a bit of a toxic environment because there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes with contracts, with players' lifestyles, with coaches, with staff. There's a lot happening, and it just, when you go to work and it's a toxic environment, it affects your performances. You have to remember that these people, before being football players and athletes, they are human beings. And if you speak to some if I was listening to ESPN FC on YouTube. All right, I watch them like every morning. Okay, great YouTube channel. Um, and I don't know if you guys watch them, but there was an ex-coach, ex-Liverpool player in the 80s, for like 10 years, won everything, an ex-coach, and he said that when he came to a team that was fighting for relegation, the first thing that he would do is to make sure that he lifts people's spirits. So he said, no matter how bad the situation was, you go to training, you put a smile on, you try to make training fun. That's the first step. Before the tactics, before the individual, like choosing which player to replace, this and that, he said the first thing to do is make training fun again. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way that you can get the best out of people. You have to remember these people are these athletes are people, and I think that they are not having fun anymore on the field. They are probably not having fun in training, and it's clearly affecting their performances. I thought Mazzari was going to come in and change things up a little bit, and maybe to some extent we did see that at the start. We did win against Atalanta. We had a decent performance against Real Madrid until the goal that we conceded at the end with Meret, and I think that maybe then some unlucky moments kind of ruined that bit of enthusiasm that Mazzarri had created at the start, and then they went back to square one. But I think we saw to some extent the effects that a little bit of a switch up in enthusiasm could have had on these players. Guys, thank you for still being, guys, none of you have, by the way, left the chat so far. I mean, this is incredible. Thank you for everybody that is still staying. You guys are amazing. I wish the Napoli players had put in this much effort as we are putting in tonight. Borderline match fixing, if as Napoli players have to be extra careful. Yeah, almost, right? Because if we get penalized more compared to some of the other teams, it's almost as if the game is kind of compromised. The validity of the game is compromised because there's no way that we get two red cards in this game and Roma walks away without any. I mean, Cristante had two fouls after he was already booked. How is he still on the field? Whereas Osimhen, two fouls within 5 minutes and he's off. And they're not bad fouls. They weren't bad fouls at all. Um, let's see. We need to completely renovate the team by buy new players and sell others. Anguissa playing like Dom's favorite player, Bakayoko. Guys, I don't know how many of you. I know Lawrence more. I remember him from ages ago. One of the first subscribers. My guy. So he knows the song that I made about Bakayoko. If you guys don't know about this, you should Google after this live. Just make a note of it. Napoli Talk Bakayoko. I literally sang a cover for this guy, and that's how much frustration I had. I had to take it out in a song, man. Um, maybe I do the same for this Napoli this season. In the summer, we'll need to replace Osimhen too. Yeah, guys, Osimhen with a new contract. Osimhen with a new contract, but this is clearly the same type of operation that we did with Lavezzi, that we did with Cavani, which is basically, hey man, stay one more year. I'll give you this economic raise, this boost. Let's set a very clear release clause, which is not too high, not too low, based on your current market value. It's definitely affordable by Premier League teams or Saudi Arabia if he wants to ever go there, or Real Madrid or whatever the case may be. Maybe Barcelona since Lewandowski is not playing too well. Let's set this release clause that's fair for the both of us, and then you stay 1 year and then you go. This is the pact. Every time that De Laurentiis renews a striker, this guy leaves a year later. It's mathematical. There's no escaping it. There's no escaping it. Osimhen's leaving next summer, if not this summer. Yes, you need some players, but most of all, you need a better coach. That Zerbi or Motta, they will play. Yeah, and guys, I'm. Here's the thing, right? Like, I wanna set a poll, but let me start a poll, all right? And I want you guys to answer this question. If we lose versus Monza and Torino, the next two games, does Mazzarri get sacked? Yes or no? Because here's what I'm thinking, guys, and I put a poll. Please vote, guys. All of you, go vote. Here's what I'm thinking, guys. On the one hand, it's it's obvious that De Laurentiis wouldn't be happy and that it would seriously compromise our ability to get in the Champions League, which is what De Laurentiis values the most. On the other hand, if we fail to get into the Champions League and fail to get into the Europa League and especially Conference League, or even if we just fail to get into Champions League, then it means that whoever is the new coach next year has the full week at his disposal to train the team, to prepare it, and then we push again for a better league position, and like get a very clear fourth spot in. Maybe that's what he's thinking. Maybe he's like, you know what, screw this year. Let's finish 10th. And then let's give the new coach like, 1 week long training sessions that he can really work on the players because, you know, coaches always find it hard. New coaches find it hard to train the teams that they come and work with. I don't know. I mean, it would be kind of stupid, right? Because you're letting go of a lot of money. It would be really stupid. But is he thinking about that? Is he thinking about that? I don't know. Hola, Hola, Oye is saying that Napoli will bounce back though. But the thing is like, with who? Because Osimhen is going away for the African Cup of Nations. So who's gonna help us bounce back? Who's gonna Elmas is leaving. Zielinski maybe has some kind of agreement with Inter. Anguissa also going to the African Cup of Nations. Zanoli is probably going to be leaving to Genoa. Like, there's a lot of players that are leaving or won't be available in the next few games. So, I mean, when if we do bounce back, when will it happen? Will it happen starting in January? Will it happen starting in February? If it's in February, is it too late? So it's tough. It's tough to know. Guys, there's a lot of comments I still have to get through. This is stressing me out. Stressing me out. The first goal of Rome, I said the record number of failed shots leading up to an actual goal. Guys, I mean, we can talk about how comical that goal is all you like and how lucky it was, but at the end of the day, a cross came in and it was centrally position for Lukaku. Then there was some, bouncing around that happened. And then they managed to score with a bit of luck. But at least they got the ball from a cross to Lukaku. Whereas in the first half, I didn't check overall in the game. In the first half, Di Lorenzo had 5 crosses, zero went to a Napoli player. So the problem is that we're not even able to create our own luck. Because, guys, when you are lucky in front of goal, it's also because you're in the right position. We are just not in the right position at all. We are not able to get in front of the goal. That's that's a problem because that means that you're not even like you're not producing anything and you're not even giving yourself the chance to be lucky. Um, You guys want me to say who are these players that I said that I tweeted and I said that are not behaving professionally and they have all these issues, but let's just say that are some of them are still enjoying um, the Scudetto party a bit too much and yeah, maybe some of them have uh, have met have met some people that maybe they shouldn't have met. Uh, some of them maybe are gooping around a little bit, not being very loyal. It's a lot of problems back home. Um, guys, these are stories they're spreading around Naples. People see these players around, and yeah, it's clear that their status as gods in this city, has got into their head. And guys, this is this is players that like you would never expect. You would never expect, but hey, we will see in a few months when the story comes out. Then you will remember I told you on Christmas Eve about things. All right? We will see. We will see. But they remain private things, so we won't get too much into them. Uh, but just know that these, like, what I just want to say is that these are human beings. They make mistakes, they have a private life, their private life and their mistakes affect their work. They affect their mental state, they affect their physical state, and there are consequences. There are consequences. So, yeah, just think for example, Barella the other week posted on Instagram a very touching post about how over the last few months him and his wife had been going through a bit of a hard time because they lost um, she lost a child. I don't know if this child like was literally already born or if she was just pregnant with the child, but it definitely correlated around the same time that Barella's performances kind of dropped. I'm not saying that that's the reason, but there's a bit of a correlation there. I don't know, but what I'm just saying is that clearly, like, personal things affect these players. I mean, they are just people after all. That was a very sad story, very sad story. Um, but yeah, things happen. Things happen. Hints. Give us hints. Are they Italian? I know of some defenders. Uh, but let's see. Let's see. Dom, just use a magic word which will absolve you all of legal responsibility. Allegedly, guys. I don't know. I don't wanna. I don't wanna. Like rub salt into wounds here. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I'm a Napoli fan. I'm not gonna start spreading specific things that will then like affect our players even worse. All right. So at the end of the day, I realize the responsibility of having a platform where on the one hand I want to give you guys the inside stories and all that stuff, but at the same time, like I also don't want to like screw people over, or the club over as well. So yeah, anyways, so let's move on from that. Let's move on. Just 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 keep in the back of your mind that maybe some stuff is not just what you see on the field, and it's not just about the coach and the staff and the blah 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 and De Laurentiis, but there's multiple elements involved here. Midfield is horrible. Yeah, 100%. 100%. The midfield, but it's not that it's horrible, guys. I mean, like, Anguissa, Lobotka, and Zielinski are three players that have been playing now for the third consecutive season, like one after the other. One after, like, every single game. Every single game. Very little turnaround. Ever since Spalletti came, that midfield has just been like just always them, always them, always them. And under Spalletti, he got really lucky that we had the World Cup in December, and at the end of the day, our players in the midfield didn't have to play too many games in that World Cup. So maybe we were also, from a physical point of view, a little bit more lucky than some of the other teams. But this year, guys, like this midfield is just physically not there. I would just want to give you guys my player ratings. Oops, they're not up there. Let me put it up. Let me put it up, the player ratings. 1 second, guys. Let me find it. Where did I put the player ratings? 1 second, guys. I will find them. Here we go. There we go. Player ratings. Um, so I don't know if you guys agree. Ooh, look at this black screen behind me. Let's fix that. Let's fix that up. I forgot to put the background image here. Oh, that's not where it's supposed to be. Is it supposed to be there? It's supposed to be here. There we go. Um, so player ratings. All right, I've given pretty much everyone like a five. I gave Marirui a six because I thought at least he had a little bit more quality in the back. He knew when to switch the play over. Just a very composed performance. Yes, he got a yellow card, but I think that just comes standard from a Marui performance. The best two players by far were Juan Jesus and Meret. Meret made two great saves today. There was nothing he could do for the goals. Absolutely nothing. But kept us in for a long time. Both when it was 0-0 and then when it was 1-0, kept us at a good level with his saves. So that's good. He's actually been not bad, I would say. In recent games, he's definitely been one of the few players that has improved recently. And then Juan Jesus actually was quite good against Lukaku. Had Lukaku controlled, was good in his anticipations, um, didn't make any mistakes, good passing, didn't lose the ball, showed personality. Honestly, he had a very, very, very good performance, Juan Jesus. And the annoying thing, the frustrating thing is actually that when the two players that we maybe say these are the ones that are like our biggest liabilities at times, it's harsh, but it's true. When the players that are our two biggest liabilities finally both have a good game together, then the rest of the team lets them down. And I think that's been the problem with Napoli this season is that we've not had a situation where all 11 players have been performing at a good level. And then a lot of the other players, guys, have been absolutely, absolutely poor. I mean, some of you want Kvara as a 6, some of you guys want Zielinski as a 5.5. Guys, they didn't do enough. Like, they didn't do enough. That midfield showed absolutely no creativity. Guys, before Napoli Roma, I was watching Liverpool Arsenal. The tempo in that midfield was totally different. Salah, guys, go watch the goal that Salah scored against Arsenal. He took the ball from the right, cut inside, dribbled past his player, boom, top corner. And when are we gonna get something like that from Kvara this season? I know that he's young. I know that he's literally the guy on this starting 11 that gets paid the least. I understand that. I understand it shouldn't be up to him. But at the same time, we know that he's got the talent to do better. And so it's a 5 out of 10 because it's compared to the talent that he has. He's shown half of what he's capable of. Is how you should interpret this. Not that he's the one to blame, because actually there's players that have a worse rating or equal rating, but it's that I think all these players have shown half. All these players that got a 5 have shown half of what is their true potential. I don't know if that makes sense, right? But that's kind of the way I'm thinking about this. Osimhen 4.5. It's tough. It's really tough. But when you are already down to 10 and you just received a yellow card, then so you're already down to 10. You've just received the yellow card and you literally just got what you asked for in terms of a new salary. Then the last thing you should be doing is putting your team in even more difficulty by making a useless challenge, a challenge that didn't need to happen. Really didn't need to happen because I don't think Roma were It wasn't like he was stopping some kind of crazy counter. Sometimes we say we need to sacrifice ourselves with a yellow card for, stopping a counter. Like, this wasn't really that kind of situation. And also, one thing is if Anguissa sacrifices himself, and one thing is if your best player, Osimhen, sacrifices himself. I mean, like, I don't know, guys. Just wasn't thinking straight, and it reminded me of the Osimhen that we used to see under Gattuso, the one that was still very much like not in control of his emotions. And then under Spalletti, I thought he finally like matured because he got older, right? He turned 24 and all that. Then I thought, and he spent more time playing with us and really being a top player. And I thought that he finally made the step. But then I feel like this season, it's not the first time that he's kind of lost his head a little bit once again, and he's become a bit immature in how he reads certain situations within the game. Last year, guys, nothing could phase him. I don't know if you guys have noticed the same thing, but it's not the first time this season that I've seen him kind of take a bit of a step back. Um, Not what you want from your best player. The most paid, maybe in the Serie A now as well. Politano 3, because what he did compromised the entire team. It was 0-0. Now he's not going to be able to play against Monza. Maybe he's going to miss out on Torino as well because it's a straight red. And it could be considered violent conduct. So maybe even 3 games. Who knows? Um, a reaction foul like that away from home at Roma, in front of the Roma bench, in front of the linesman. Like, are you kidding me, man? Like, from such an experienced player, it's absolutely crazy that Politano did that. Um, was Meret positive in this game? Yes. Two very good saves. First, the one at 0-0, then one when we were down 1-0. None of the goals were his fault. And yeah, Rachmani, I thought he suffered a little bit. Guys, Rachmani this season has been horrible. I mean, we were playing against an ex football player. Belotti, for me, let's be very clear, Belotti is an ex footballer. He hasn't been good for 8 years, Belotti. He's an ex football player, and Rachmani was doing what he wanted against. Sorry, Belotti was doing what he wanted against Rachmani. In the save that Meret had to do in the first half, Belotti went around Rachmani as if he wasn't there, as if he was a friggin' cone, man. And we are talking about an ex player, Belotti. So I don't know what's happened to Rachmani this season. Probably our most unimproved player. Is that a term? Most unimproved player. Um, and that's an achievement. That's something that goes on your CV because out of this group of players, if you can be the most unimproved, I mean that takes skill. It takes skill to be that bad this year. Why play Rachmani when we have Ostigard? To be honest, I don't know. Um, I don't think Rachmani is able to lead the defense, but I think I think what Mazzarri what Mazzarri is trying to do is trying to deviate as little as possible from what Spalletti used to do. So if Rachmani was the starter with Spalletti, then Rachmani is the starter under Mazzarri. What I think Mazzarri hasn't quite come to grips with and understood is that Rachmani can only play next to people that know how to lead the defense. that are physically commanding, such as Koulibaly and such as Kim. If you remove that kind of player next to Rahmani, he becomes a very, very, very average defender, and he doesn't have any type of leadership quality. And I don't think this thing has quite clicked into Mazzari's brain yet. So for me, if we had a guy like Kim or a guy like Koulibaly, fine, put Rahmani there. It's fine. Probably he would give you a better output than Ostigard in that condition. But in the condition where you don't have that kind of player, then Ostigard all day long. At least you're gonna be a bit more dominant when crosses come in inside the box because guys, at the end of the day, most of the goals that we concede are because of we're not able to deal with crosses inside the box. Man, Rahmani was never that good in my opinion. Koulibaly and Kim covered him. Exactly, exactly. Your title says Roma 0 to Napoli. Let's change that. Let's change that right now. See, this is where my delusion comes in. Thanks, man. Now it's really official. Once Napoli talk says that it's 2-0 to Roma, then it's actually official. I'm surprised, guys. I'm surprised no one has picked up on that before him. But thanks, man. Um, yeah, Inter with another 3 points. Inter just running away with it this year, guys. Politano's looked extremely frustrated for a while now. I feel like that red was coming. Guys, Politano has broken the streak of being substituted for the 67th consecutive time since starting a game. He did it. Guys, we have finally found a way for Politano to break that streak. It's to be red carded. The funny thing is that he gets red carded roughly around the same time that he would be substituted anyways, which is like the 60th minute mark. So like literally this guy is not able to play more than 60 minutes, but he was on an incredible run that I don't think has ever happened in professional football ever. 67 consecutive games being substituted from a starting position, which is unreal, unreal. It's maybe a bit off topic, but do you know where I can buy a legit Napoli jersey in Napoli? There's a few Napoli stores. There's a Napoli store in the train station. There's a Napoli store in Vomero. There's a Napoli store in Via Calabriti. There's a Napoli store near the stadium in Furigrotta. So there's plenty of opportunities. Just Google official Napoli store. You can even go on match day if you have a ticket. There's a stand within the stadium that sells Napoli stuff. So plenty of opportunities. Just don't buy it off the streets, like the little stands off the streets, because those are obviously not legit. They say Ostigard is gone too. I mean, probably Ostigard is suffering from the same sort of thing that Elmas is that he doesn't want to see his career wasted on the bench and wants to play. I mean, think about it. When it was last season and it was Rahmani and Kim as the two starters and we were winning the Scudetto, he was probably happy to say, all right, I am on the bench, but we are about to win the Scudetto. I put that on my CV. I enjoy the party. And then he must have thought, okay, well, if Kim leaves, which was pretty obvious that he was going to leave starting from like April last year, when Kim leaves, surely I'm the one that steps up and I become a starter, right? Because it's not going to be Juan Jesus, surely. Um, and instead, it became Juan Jesus, and to see yourself as as the as the backup to Juan Jesus must suck, must absolutely suck. So I have no doubt that he wants to leave because of that as well. So yeah. We should drop 50 million on Scalvini. I don't know, man. I don't like Scalvini, to be honest. I saw him in, well, obviously I see him in the Serie A, but I also saw him in the under 21 tournament this summer, and I was just super unimpressed by Scalvini, like super unimpressed. Um, I think he was like a player that just did not perform well under like in the big stage. So I have my doubts over him. Whereas there are some players that you know I think are incredible players that we should be taking a look at from that under 20 and under 21 team. I think Napoli needs to go and buy Pafundi from Udinese. I don't know why he's not getting enough minutes there, but he's an incredible player. We need to go and buy Casadei. Um, I mean, like these guys, like these young talents, it would be amazing if we could get them into Napoli. These are incredibly talented players. Italy has some of the most talented young players out there. I mean, the under 20 and under 21 team did incredibly well this summer. And they're not getting a chance in other teams, so we need to capitalize on that. Politano ruined the game. Napoli could win, but referee helped Roma. Yeah, 100%. 100% that was the case. Dilo's drop off in form is so strange. Yeah, strange. If you guys have listened to what I said before, then you might know that there's some other reasons happening. Di Lorenzo seems like a family man. He might be the guy Dom's talking about. Moving on. What's the deal with Zerbin for real? Because he's also had call-ups to Italy at least last year. Um, Zerbin, guys, I can't believe he actually got minutes under. I can't believe he got a chance to play under all the managers that have worked with him. Like he played with Ancelotti a few years back. He played with Garcia. He played with Spalletti. He played now with Mazzari. Like, how is this guy? This guy's a fraud, man. This guy is literally a fraud. How is he doing this? Juan Jesus was alright. He didn't look confident in his one tackle on look, but won the ball. Yeah, he won the ball, and I think he was solid. Lukaku didn't have much opportunity to do anything, and actually Lukaku scored when Juan Jesus was taken off. So yeah, it is what it is. But guys, it's a tough game for us now because we've got a red card for Osimhen, a red card for Politano, Lobotka injured, Nathan seemed to be going off injured. It's tough. Barack O'Blackman says Napoli players pass too much in the midfield rather than finding ways to sneak the ball to the forward players or striker. Osimhen should open more for passes. This is a great insight because I was taking a look at Liverpool Arsenal before this game, and I was telling my cousin how great it is to watch those teams because the midfielders always look to pass the ball forward. And if you think about how many times Napoli today passed the ball backwards, when we got to Roma's final third or our final third, Roma like near Roma's box, the amount of times we had to go all the way backwards to our defenders, it was heartbreaking to see. Whereas if you look at Liverpool or Arsenal, like these are teams that they very rarely go backwards. They just try to move the ball forward. They try to make runs. The fullbacks, the wingers, they make runs inside. Then those runs don't work out, so they come back in. And when they come back in, the defenders don't know how to handle that because they're coming back from a bit of an offside position, so they're unmarked. So if you pass the ball right when they're at the point where they've come back from the offside, but they're not offside, then you can kind of catch the other team off guard. Like all these little things that Klopp and Arteta were doing, like we're just not seeing them. So yeah, top four is out of range and in fantasy world. Let's see. I'm gonna end the poll here of Mazzarri. Let's let's do another one before we close it off. Let's see. Is top four out of reach? Yes. No. All right, let's see what you guys think, guys. Who is still a top four believer? Who is not? Obviously, you have even the team in third, Milan, that is struggling. Milan is losing points. They drew, so at the end of the day, there's a lot of teams there. We have Milan, Bologna, Napoli, Roma, Fiorentina, Atalanta, Lazio, maybe. We have eight teams that all could say, you know what, maybe this Champions League is for us this season. You know, the competition is as high as it's ever been for that fourth spot. So this is going to be very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. If you're liking the video, smash that like button and subscribe, guys. I know I said it earlier that I don't really care about it because I'm so upset, blah, 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 blah. But we have been going on for 2 hours and 16 minutes. Is that right? Have we been going on for 2 hours? No, 1 hour and 15 minutes. 1 hour and 16 minutes. Um, and so I deserve a like. I deserve it. Napoli doesn't deserve it, but I deserve it. I deserve it. So you guys got to do it. You guys got to do it. It has to happen. Let's go. Let's go to some more. In the end, Napoli will be fourth. Mark my words, says Zvedan J. In the end, I mean, I do think that's the most likely scenario, just because we have the ability to this winter buy some players. Hopefully, they make an impact. Um, we are too good of a team from a technical point of view not to win most games. But I don't know, like I see teams like Bologna and stuff like that, they are more of a team compared to us, you know what I mean? And they've got that hype that even if they lose one or two games, they will just believe, you know. I see an early Napoli of the Mazzarri days in that Bologna team. A team that really believes that they can do something special. And they've got a very, very good coach. Very good coach. So part of me is saying Milan third, Bologna fourth. I don't think Roma or Lazio or Fiorentina or these people, because they are super inconsistent. They also have injuries and all that stuff. But I see Bologna as our biggest rival. And the fact that they went and they beat Atalanta today as well, guys, that's that's important. That's really, really important. They beat Roma, they beat Atalanta, they beat Inter in the space of a week. Guys, like, do you realize what Bologna has done in 7 days? They beat Roma, they beat Inter, they beat Atalanta. Inter in the Coppa Italia, but still, this is not a joke. This team is serious, all right? And we can try to ignore them all we want because they've never been relevant before now, but they're here. They've landed. Hard landing, but they've landed. So we gotta start talking about them as our most serious rival at this point from what they've shown. So yeah, Bologna deserves top four, but they won't go far in Europe playing that many games. Bologna deserves, but they won't go far in Europe playing that many. Can you elaborate, Maximus? I didn't quite understand the comment. What do you mean? Which games? Especially when most likely Bologna manager and players will get poached. Yeah, okay, but you're talking about next year, right? I'm saying about this year. They might get poached, but next year. Mike Ekstad, thank you for the $2 donation. Even in a day like this where things are so gloomy. You've shown up and supported this channel. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Nobody wants to play for De Laurentiis. That's an interesting take. And could that be? Maybe. I mean, clearly, I don't think Zielinski is enjoying himself too much out there after what De Laurentiis said about him. Tem says you look tired. I am. I am. This streaming is not easy, man. Like public speaking for an hour and 20 for 80 minutes, guys, it's tough. It's really tough. But we're still not done. And also it's, like 1 a.m. So I had a long day. I went and worked out at the park. I did a little bit of Christmas shopping. I watched some football. I did stuff in my day. Not my most hard day. Definitely not hard labor, but let's see what Mazzari says, guys, and then maybe we can think about what to do after that. But let's hear Mazzari first to that zone, and he says, I am convinced that based on the way that we were playing in that moment, for the way that we held possession of the ball, that we were superior, and then everything changed when Politano got a red card. Politano's shirt was being pulled for one fourth of an hour for 15 minutes. So I don't want to speak about the referees, but I will just say that his shirt was being pulled by a very long time. We have not been very cynical in front of goal, but apart from the Belotti opportunity, Napoli showed a lot more. The problem that I have with that declaration by Mazzarri, guys, is that he says we were not very cynical in front of goal. The problem is we didn't even reach the goal. That's really where the problem lies, is that we were not able to really make opportunities for Osimhen. We've never put Osimhen one on one with the goalkeeper. We didn't give him a cross to head the ball. Like it wasn't even that we were wasteful. Like we just weren't producing at all, which is a bit of a problem. Um, he says Mazzari continues to say that we started the game very, very well. We thought we were going to go in the lead, and then it went the way it went. And let's think about the next game. Um, they ask him a very interesting question: will you guys buy players that will allow you to change formation? And he says, after the first two games that I coached, you guys asked me, why don't we change formation? Together with the president, I came here because I like this team in the 4-3-3. For the players that will come, we will see. But this team is one that is attacking and has a lot of the ball, which means that this formation is working for us. Um, we play similarly to last year, but with players that are not as much in form. Um, so I think that this team is ideal for 4-3-3. I think it's absurd to change it. So Mazzarri is saying that this team is playing similar to last year, which is funny for me, but he admits to the fact that these players are just not physically in shape. They're not in the right form, which is true in the end of the day. Uh, Let me do another poll, guys, because there's a lot of you here, and the new year is coming, and all that kind of stuff. I want to do a little bit of I want to do a little bit of market research with you guys. By the way, most of you think that top four is not out of reach. I agree with you. Let me do a little bit of a poll. Not a Q&A. Why did I start a Q&A? Let me do a little bit of a poll. Let me ask you, um, do you use Twitch? Yes and no. Do you, or let's say, do you slash would you use Twitch? Because I don't know. Maybe I could bring something fresh for the new year. Maybe I could do some things on both platforms. Um, so yeah, I just kind of want to know like what's the vibe here, you know? Um, so let's see what you guys think. Um, about that. Sorry for some kind of off-topic poll, but actually it is very on topic since you guys it's about you. This poll is about you. Um, Anyways, they ask Mazzarri, very few shots. How much time do you think it will take for Napoli to find their brilliance again? And he says, well, yeah, we had some shots, but this is a good question. If you go and coach a big team that plays every 3 games and you don't have the chance to uh, train them very often, because obviously you play one day, the day after there's a like um, a cool down day, then maybe you train for one day and then you have to start the warm up for the game that's coming up the day after. So at the end of the day, you only get like one or 2 days per week to really do the training of this team. And he says it's not easy. So we have to maybe wait a little bit for the break. We have to allow some of these players to rest. They've been playing a lot of games, and find some time after the break where we have a bit more of days in between games. Um, I I think that after the draw against Cagliari, Mazzarri says, I think after the draw against Cagliari, um, Raspadori was decisive in the position that I put him there. Um, and let's see if we do that again later on. Mazzari continues to say that although we didn't create that many opportunities, Roma, it was a balanced game. So it was a game that was balanced, and we were with a lot of possession. Last year, this team was dominating, but this year we're just lacking that physical brilliance. A lot of players are coming from injuries that injuries that are lengthy injuries, such as maybe Maidorui. Also, Osimhen had a very long injury, and we just have to wait until players are back to their physical best. And for those that ask him, tell us about this team's performances and results after you arrived, Mazzarri says, well, actually, if I arrived here in the first place, it's because there was a problem. So let's focus on that in the first place. So yeah, that's Mazzari. But yeah, the journalists are asking him a lot about the physical condition of these players. So guys, thanks for voting on the poll, guys. Even though it's not exactly related to Napoli, it's a good sample size already. So let me end the poll here. Let me give you guys like a minute to just add your response. Just add it if you haven't already. I need this kind of like these kind of answers to know what should I do slash not do. Um, so yeah, just to get a feel of you guys, you know what I mean? Every manager would agree. Um, let's see. What do you think, Kvara? Do you think Kvara will go to Madrid one day? Maybe, maybe. Why not? Definitely, if he plays like last year, yes. But if he plays like this year, I'm not sure Real Madrid is gonna be interested in that. So these players need to think that just because they won the Scudetto last year doesn't guarantee them success forever. You're only as good as the current season that you're playing, is my opinion. People don't tend to look at what you did 1 or 2 seasons before. Definitely not the elite teams. Maybe smaller teams, yeah, they will take a bet on you, or teams of similar level to Napoli. But if you want to play for Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, you better have come from the back of a very good season. Otherwise, they've got other players that are more in form that they're gonna go for. I'm hearing so much cope from Mazzarri. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Okay, thank you guys for voting on the poll about the whole Twitch thing. It's very interesting. Some of you, majority of you, are not on there. But I wonder if there's some Napoli fans that might benefit from me being there and just kind of expand that community a little bit. Valerie says I always see that Kvara is opening, get the ball, but mid is going the other way, and so many chances wasted that way. Yeah, there's a lot of like things not quite flowing with Napoli, guys. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of things that aren't working, but I think it's also that like sometimes we give the ball to Osimhen super long, and then it takes way too long for the rest of the team to catch up with him because they're tired, because the midfield can't run that fast and all that, and it eliminates the danger that Osimhen can give a team. At least last year, as much as I would say, as much as Lozano, like we say, Naples did feet with feet, like he tripped over his own feet. As much as he did that, he wasn't the best of the ball. At least he was fast. So if you give the ball to Osimhen, then you had someone like sprinting down that could actually keep the pace of Osimhen and was at least giving defenders something to worry about, which gave Osimhen himself a bit more space and less defenders to cope with. Nowadays, you pass the ball long to Osimhen, and it takes forever for someone to come and help him out. And yeah, these are all the little things that we kind of underestimated from players last season. I mean, we keep talking about Kim having left. Do we need to open a discussion, maybe, on the fact that Lozano left and we are not understanding the full impact of what that means when it comes to small things like this? Also, Lozano was someone that would achieve 3, 4 fouls per game because he was so bad at controlling the ball that it would go like 2 meters in front of him. Defenders would think that they had time to intercept it, but then he would just about stick out a foot just in time to get fouled. And this was bringing us a lot of fouls in which we were scoring headers and all that. It was also getting players booked, which means that then it was easier for us to play because we had more players in the other team booked. Like these are all the little things, you know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, are we too quiet on the fact that Lozano left? I mean, I was one of the main people that was asking him to leave because I didn't think he was technical enough for this team. But maybe, maybe if Spalletti kept playing him, there's a reason. So I wonder. I really do wonder about that. Um. Anyways, how do you think Barca Napoli game goes? First game in Naples. I think it's too early to say. Let's see when we get back from. Let's see in the end of January. We'll comment a little bit more about that. Anyways, guys, Mike is going. He says good night, kings and queens. Forza Napoli sempre. It's quite late, guys. I know that there's still a lot of you watching. I do know that. But let's call it a day. Let's call it a day, and then maybe we have a bit of a update video slash stream at some point before the next game. But let's end it here. And thank you guys for having been on all this time. For those of you that have been on here the whole time, I appreciate you a lot. You make this loss much better. Apologies for not getting to all your comments, but there were so many comments, guys. And I tried to pick as many as possible. And if you didn't get selected this time, you'll get selected next time. John says, grazie per lo stream, Dom. Tutto passa. Yes. Like we say here, the night has to pass. Ha da passare nottata. Ha da passare. So let's see. Let's see. The night has to pass at some point. Every night has to pass, and we are in the full darkness of the night at this point with Napoli, but at some point it will pass and a new day will come. So let's see. And with that, guys, I will let you go to bed. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys have a great Christmas Eve, a great Christmas, lots of presents, lots of love, lots of happy times, Christmas movies, whatever it is that you do. If you don't celebrate Christmas, then I guess happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Monday as well. Um, happy, just a happy week and happy New Year as well. If you guys don't happen to catch a video before the end of the new year. But anyways, guys, I'll peace out and as always, forza Napoli sempre. Ciao ragazzi.